hitting the wall was a very real thing. I never argued with Kevin Samuels about that. Because the reality is the older you get, the worse your options get. So by the time you get to said age and you look around and you realize what you're left with to choose from, and you realize it is either going to be you dealing with somebody who you don't find to be attractive, somebody who come with a bunch of baggage, who got a bunch of problems, divorcees, bunch of kids. You realize you're dealing with somebody who they never got it together throughout their life, so they still don't have nowhere to stay. They still not financially stable, still jumping from job to job if they even got a job. You just realize you really don't have no options, right? And so now you're met with the wall, right? And either you get to choose at that wall if you're going to settle or you're going to just go ahead and hit it.
See, the main problem is that women like her and have gotten to her age don't want to take accountability for their decisions that they have made to ultimately get them to this position in their life. Like, I just refuse to believe that there have not been any good men that you have came across your whole entire life that would have been good husbands or good spouses or whatever. I just think that this particular woman and a lot of women that are decent looking and get of age and are still decent looking have too high of standards when it comes to looks on men. And I would consider her to be a mid-tier woman, and I believe personally she was out here looking for a top-tier man in the 1% men in looks, as well as finances and a lot of other things. And so what you in turn or what she actually done is she just put herself in a small bucket of men that what she wanted, but eliminated herself because she could not attract those men. And that's just a big problem. And she bringing up hitting the wall and and this, that, and the other. Yeah, that is true. And I think Kevin Samuels shedded a lot of light on modern day dating, and he kind of forewarned and foreseen a lot of this stuff that was fixing to happen. The only thing I don't agree with Kevin Samuels is that me personally, I think he kind of talked a little harsh or a little mean towards the women. Just like I say, I'm a Southern gentleman. I like to keep it real. I think he could have got that message across, just in a more respectful way. But that's neither here nor there. But at the same time, older women like this become combative and bitter and a lot less traditional the older they get. And so, just like I say, they'll get online, they'll shoot these videos, they'll set this persona like, oh, I got the house, I got the money, I'm going on trips, I'm doing this. And the younger women will get on, watch these videos, pay attention to it, and get those endorphin hits, and it takes them out of reality. And reality is that if you don't lower these standards, if you don't think in logic, if you don't ground yourself, you are going to be the same age these women are, living the same type of lifestyle and doing things in that nature, and can't find a man. And what she said is true. When you get older, your the class and the bucket of men that you have to choose from, it gets lesser and lesser. Like, men are not out here looking for strong-minded, modern, older women. We don't care how good they look. They just not out here looking for them.
Me being single at my age didn't come from bad decision making, stupid. It came from me never finding the man that I wanted to be with. I don't know in what delusional world y'all men live in where you think that it was all of these wonderful, great men running around when we was in our 20s and we just passed up on all of these great guys. The attractive men when we were in our 20s were doing what attractive men do, which is be players, talk to a whole bunch of different women, and never want to settle down. You do understand that, right? So given that the attractive men in their 20s didn't want to settle down, that left us with ugly dudes, dudes with kids, and dudes who didn't have themselves together. It's the same thing now that I'm older. The options didn't go from good to bad. It went from bad to worse, right? Now, instead of dudes just having kids, they got kids and grandchildren. And if you think some of them was unattractive back then, add on now the fact that some of them is out of shape, they ain't got no hairline, and they missing side teeth. They wasn't financially stable in their 20s, and a lot of them still ain't financially stable. Some of them still paying child support from the same babies that they was having when they was in their 20s. Y'all gotta start being for real. These podcast lies that all of these men was gonna get older and they was just gonna become these rich men, that didn't happen for most of them. Sorry. A lot of the men in their 20s who was doing all that settling down and getting married were undesirable men. Men on the verge of losing their hairlines. Men who didn't have no bunch of options of women to choose from in the first place. That's the reason why it was so easy for them to settle down. And just like anything else, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. And I'm sure some women got lucky and they were able to find desirable men to settle down with in their 20s. But the exceptions don't make the rule. And I'd argue how many of those women and men are still married to this day. How many of those marriages actually lasted? Shout out to the ones that did. I know how y'all like to rewrite history and pretend as if it was all of these wonderful, great men for us to choose from in our 20s, and we just wanted to be outside and we wanted to party with our girls and we didn't want to settle down. That's not what was happening. The options weren't there back then. And you're still in the same position. The dudes who older, who are still desirable, they still don't want to settle down.
What's crazy is that she don't seem to understand that she just made her own argument and she just completely explained why she is single at the age she is now. This whole video was basically about men's looks and how they looked, and hairlines and teeth and this, that, and the other. Not true enough, I'm not telling anybody not to, date or want to be with somebody that they perceive to just be flat out ugly. But overall, my opinion is that her standards were just too high. She wanted the good looking, pretty, handsome men. And at this age, she's a decent looking woman, but I could only imagine a lot younger. And what I mean by that, you are not a 8, 9, or 10 in looks far as women go. And those same men that you were running after and infatuated about while you were younger, but you was running past a good, stable, solid man, a man that could have given you a good relationship or possibly a good life or a good home, or something worth having, you running and chasing behind clout and looks. And that's the thing, like, now, so more in today's modern day dating, I don't think it's necessarily the looks thing. I think women are now so more infatuated with money, 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 money. And guys and men have became hip to that, and so they have started playing the game high go, which is meaning that if a ugly dude or a dude is just not, that doesn't look good, or or whatever, if he has money, he understands that these women really don't want him like that. They just want what they can get out of him, what he can buy for them, and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, older women are hitting the wall. Like she said, they are having regrets, but it's self-inflicted wounds and regrets, and not thinking in logic and not overall lowering your standards. But let me know what you all think down below. Please like, subscribe. Everyone have a blessed day.